So how did you feel when things weren't going as well? How did
Oh my
you?
God. I was
Yeah,
blaming everyone. I was blaming the staff. I was blaming the customers. I was blaming the Batman.
oh,
Like,
that bloody VAT man.
yeah,
Do you find there's a lot of salon owners that are buying equipment that they don't need?
yeah, yeah,
Would that be fair?
yeah, yeah. You've hit the nail on the head, Darren.
Oh well, please, I'm going to have a bit of my coffee now. I'm pleased with that. If there's salon owners listening to this, for example, how would they identify themselves as needing your help?
If they're feeling frustrated, if they're probably teetering on the VAT threshold or they've already gone over the VAT threshold and they're starting to worry.
On today's episode of the Engaging Marketeer, I am joined by Natasha Britton. Natasha I've known for some years, and she is a marketing and business consultant that specialises in salons. Natasha owned a salon some years ago, and she transformed it from struggling business to thriving enterprise. And she now works with other salon owners who are overwhelmed, stressed, worried about how their business is going to survive, and those of them that are on the cusp of the VAT threshold where their prices may have to increase by 20% and they're not sure what to do about it. So I'll be speaking to Natasha about how she helps those businesses and how she helps them grow, systemize, market themselves, free up their time, and smash through that VAT barrier so they become profitable businesses. This should be really interesting.
Yeah.
So, Natasha, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning. Good morning. You've got a very specific niche, haven't you, for businesses at the moment?
Yes, at the moment, I help salon owners to earn more and work less because they're very overworked and they tend not to pay themselves very much money.
Why is that? Why aren't they paying themselves much money? Is it just that the profits aren't there in the business?
Well, yeah, having a salon, obviously, there's a lot of overheads, there's machinery that costs a lot, and if you've got a team, obviously, that then your overhead's going to be quite high. On average, an average salon, if you're making anything from like 20% profit, then you're doing okay.
No.
So yeah, the profit margin is very there's not much give in that respect, but they also have shiny object syndrome where they love to buy machines and equipment, just like you, Darren, with your
Just,
gadgets.
I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean.
So salon owners are very like that as well. They're always looking for the next shiny object, and they get sucked in from the manufacturers that are selling them this big dream of buy this machine and it will, generate all this money for you. But
Yeah.
what I found was, yes, it can do that, but if you don't have the marketing expertise to market that product, you're left with a machine that is collecting dust and not doing much for you.
Yeah, I was at my dentist the other week, and she was telling me how she has reps go in selling her equipment, and she's just bought lasers, which she
Yeah.
said in a really frightening way. With got the mask on, she's got these big brown eyes, and she went, "I've just bought lasers." It's not something I want to hear when I'm lying in a dentist chair, and apparently it can burn fillings out or some shit without using drills and needles, and she's very excited about it. But I imagine it's a similar thing, that when they're in a confined space like that and they're a specific industry, there's people that just go around touting equipment to them, all
Yeah.
the new thing, this is going to save you time, this is going to make you more money, this is going to get you more clients in. And I can see how they can be tempted and swayed by shiny new objects, obviously based on what I've got behind me.
Yeah, totally. And it's okay if the actual manufacturer gives you that support and gives you guidance around marketing. But if they don't have that kind of support there, then you're kind of left with a machine that is not doing much,
Hmm.
and that's when the spiral starts to happen.
So do you find that a lot? Do you find there's a lot of salon owners that are buying equipment that they don't need?
Yeah, yeah. a lot of the time, we have a trade show twice a year. One of the biggest ones is Pro Beauty in Excel. And it's just, if you go to these events, you're like, oh, this is the brand new thing that's out. This is out. You've got to have this to stay current. And I tend to find if you've got a machine or a treatment or even a service that you're not really utilizing, you can recreate that buzz within your business if you have a proper marketing strategy behind it. You can relaunch something that you've probably had for a few years and make it exciting, make it something that your clients want so that you can get a return on your investment.
So what you're saying is, rather than look for that new shiny piece of equipment or the shiny penny, as a lot of business owners get distracted with, this is the latest new thing, this is the latest new thing, that they've actually got something already in their business that they're just underutilizing and can get more out of.
Definitely, yeah. It's a no-brainer really when you look at how many types of equipment and services that they offer. You could literally recreate a campaign and get it out there, get your clients excited again, you get excited again, and that way you can really start to get a return on the investment.
What's the I'm trying to think from a business perspective. What's the biggest mistake that salon owners tend to make in terms of not generating enough revenue or maximising their customers?
Yeah, a lot of them on the outside they look very successful, and I was one of those people that thought, oh, Natasha, she's doing really well, but literally behind closed doors I was losing the will. It was like, shit, the money is running out. I don't have enough money to pay for staff, and it's not asking for help when you need to ask for help. I think that is a big thing for salon owners and for business owners in generally. It's not asking for help when you need it, trying to figure it out yourself. Whereas if you go out and ask for help, if you go to somebody that's done it before, if you start getting out there and looking at what are the different methods or strategies that I can use and start to implement them in the business, then that's where you can really start to turn things around.
I know with a lot of businesses have the perception, or business owners, if someone's employed and they know a business owner, they have that image that they're really successful, they're doing really well, they're always busy, they've got loads of customers, you think everything's flying high for them. But I imagine that's amplified a little with salon owners because their business is image.
Yeah.
And they need to convey that image of luxury, that image of success, because that's what their customers want when they go in. So I imagine it's really difficult for a salon owner to ask for help because they need to appear successful. Would that be fair?
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head, Darren.
Oh, well, please, I'm going to have a bit of my coffee now. I'm pleased with that.
It's so true, though. And, when everybody perceives that you're doing so well, you have to maintain that, and it's only when I started asking for help and I started to look at other mentors that could help me on my journey, that's when I was able to really turn things around my own salon.
So what happened with you? You were a salon owner originally. Was it just the one salon or was it more than one?
Yeah, so I set up a business with a business partner. I never had the money to invest in a business because especially salons, they're really expensive to set up. You have to make sure you've got the right equipment, the right air conditioning and all of that stuff. It costs a lot of money. And I didn't have the money, but I had a business partner who actually invested in me and in the business. So I was on sort of difficult grounds anyway, because I never had my own money. I had to rely on his money to set up everything. But I did it. I got there. And then we were in a very busy shopping centre in Greater London. Overheads were massive. Like just the business rates were like a rent payment in itself.
Wow.
It was huge, yeah. So from the get-go, I needed to make money fast. And I had a team as well, and we didn't have a client base. So I had to try and figure out everything that I could to get us out there. And you know, for the first 2 to 3 years, it was very difficult. But over time, I started to learn the things that I needed to learn to get us out there, to really not spend money as well, because I didn't have money for things like ads and stuff like that.
So, was your business partner, the person putting funds in, was he involved in the business or was he just a backer?
No, he was involved in the business. So he was a nail technician who had nails and pedicures downstairs, and I was upstairs doing laser and skin treatment. So he was very much involved in the business. Um, and I realised over time we kind of had different plans for the business. I wanted high end, high service, charge a lot more, and he wanted fast service, quick turnover, and you know, he wasn't really charging what I was charging. So I mean, they're totally different services.
So there's a discrepancy there in the kind of customer that's coming in then.
Yeah, definitely, because people were probably looking and thinking, oh, I won't get my laser done there because they're just a fast turnover, you know. So I had to try and go against that and say, look, come upstairs, come and see us. This is, you know, it's almost like two different businesses in one.
Yeah.
Although we was under one umbrella. So that was quite a challenge. And I found that once I did start to turn the business around, I was able to leave the premises on really good terms. We still speak now. He was so happy for me to go off and do my own thing. But I literally moved around the corner to a smaller shopping centre and was able to have my own business, my own laser and skin clinic.
So how did you feel when things weren't going as well? How did you?
Oh my God. I was blaming everyone. I was blaming the staff. I was blaming the customers. I was blaming the VAT man.
That bloody VAT man.
Yeah. I was literally blaming everyone, thinking, you know, I thought that I was doing everything that I could to build my business. But it wasn't until I started to get a bit of outside help that I was like, actually, if I really look at it, I'm not doing the things that I need to do. So I started to do those things, and that's when it turned around.
So what were those things? What did you do that you weren't doing before that turned it around?
Yeah, it was definitely leadership roles. So I'd never really managed a team before. So making sure that I was going through, you know, the boring stuff like the KPIs, the key performance indicators with my team, communicating, not just thinking, right, I'm going to tell them once and that's it. I leave them to get on with it. You know, it was like, right, we have to have staff meetings. We have to have one-to-one meetings. And it's setting up all of these systems and processes that I was able to systemize the business and get results out of the business so I could then take a step back. So yeah, it was learning marketing, learning how to close sales better than what we were doing, looking at our key performance indicators, making sure that people were enjoying the service, coming back, getting customer feedback, all of that stuff that we kind of overlook when we're so in the business trying to run it. It was taking myself out of the business and looking at it from a bird's eye point of view to say, right, what's not working, what is working, how can we improve that? And one of the biggest ones was Google My Business as well. You know, I didn't have money to advertise, so I had to learn all of the things that I could do to get to #1 spot on Google when people were searching for keywords. And it was little things like that then we became #1 in our area organically. And that really did transform my business because we were starting to get new clients from that as well.
Well, that's an interesting one to pick straight up on, I think, there. So when you were struggling, you didn't bother with that, presumably. You didn't know about it.
I didn't really know about it. I set up the profile and I
Yeah.
thought it was just like, when you set up a Yellow Pages little listing
Yeah.
or Yale.com now. I went on all of those listing sites, set up a little listing, add a logo here and there. But I didn't really realise that I needed to update it more. I didn't really realise what the power of the listing itself and what you can actually do. And obviously, over time, it's evolved so much that I truly believe you should treat your Google business listing as another form of social media.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal what you can do with it organically.
So once you had that for the new location, and you were getting people finding you organically, which is free for those who don't know, not paid ads. This is people just finding you. How many people were coming in? What sort of impact was that one simple change having on the
Yeah,
business?
we were getting impressions that were up to 60,000 a month. Impressions
60,000 a month.
60,000. I think that I've got a screenshot of the highest like engagement in interactions, insights for 1 month was 64,000 impressions. People
Wow.
were like clicking on the photos, clicking the buttons and it was just phenomenal. I was like, wow, I'm doing this without ads.
Yeah. So for people that don't know what that is, essentially, anyone in your area that's searching for stuff that you do, for services that you do that they're looking for, your business listing is appearing. You're appearing in the map. You're appearing in the right-hand side. Your photos are appearing 64,000 times in a single month,
Yeah,
which is obscene. If
it's
you
crazy.
paid for your ad to be seen 64,000 times, you'd be paying a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And because we do so many different treatments, I had to work on different keywords for being found for different things. So yeah, I think that one skill of learning how to master that really did help us become known as experts in the local area. And just to give you an idea of how many salons, mobile people, there were over 50 different types of businesses. We're thinking about solos, like mobiles, actual salons, in just a 4 mile radius. There
Wow.
were over 50 different types of beauty places that were offering our services in that area. It's huge competition.
And you were up there on the first page ahead
Yeah,
of pretty much all of them
yeah,
because of something you did that was free.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy, crazy.
Cool.
Yeah,
So to bring it forward a little bit, I'll skip back again in a moment because, we're all over the place.
yeah.
When you're working with salons now, how many of them do you work with, or what do you see in terms of their Google business profile? Where are they at the moment with it when you start to work with them?
Yeah, a lot of them do have that perception like, oh yeah, I've created my listing. I don't even know the login details. Normally they tell me like I don't even know who, who set it up, or maybe somebody else set it up for them, or they haven't logged in for like a year or two, and they've never really updated it. So it's like educating them just on what the listing is and that they shouldn't just treat it like a Yale listing. And then giving them some tools and education around how they can use it quite easily within their business, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, just updating things on there. And then they start to see that they're going higher and higher above their competitors in their area. It does take time, and it's not something that you can just immediately do. Like I always say with Google, it's little and often, because otherwise, if they see a load of activity, then they're just going to mark it as spam.
It's suspicious.
Yes,
Yeah.
very suspicious activity. If you haven't logged into your account for a couple of years, and that is very suspicious activity. So we
Yeah.
have to do it. We have to start easy and then just make it a normal habit on a day-to-day basis.
Awesome. So if we go back again, back to your salon, when that's one of the things you implemented, you talked about, as well, about procedures being in place and having regular staff meetings and being able to take yourself out of the business. How common is it for salons of the size that you had to have all the procedures in place and to have regular staff meetings and treat it like a proper business?
Yeah, it's not very common at all. A lot of the time, salon owners have got into the business because they love what they do, first and foremost. And then it kind of does well to the point of where they're so busy themselves running one column that they think, oh, let me get a team in. But what tends to happen is they're still very busy themselves and they're trying to manage this team that's not really building up because they don't have the same traits, the behaviours, the values as you, and you haven't got time to train them. So you end up being busy, paying for their wages, and they're maybe like a glorified cleaner in the company,
Yeah.
just holding the fort. So I teach salon owners to get out of that column, maybe start reducing your working hours in your business, and then create mini yous, create that team that do have the same values, that are doing the same things that you're doing. And that way you can really nurture them, you can train them to your standards and really start to get results. And then once you've kind of got that really strong team, then you can start to really take a step back, and the business almost runs itself because you've set up the processes, you've set up the procedures, and everybody knows what they need to do.
Yeah, that is a really good point. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday. I can't remember who it was, about when you free up time in your business, it's absolutely critical what you do with that time that you free up.
Yeah.
If you just end up doing more of the same thing that you were doing before, you're not really helping yourself. No. So if you're doing treatments as a salon owner and you bring someone in and train them to do the treatments with you, if you just carry on doing more treatments, that's not going to help. You're not going to grow the business that way. You need to do, as you say, take a step back from it and work strategically on it so that you're not being in there all the time. You're the one working on the strategy of where the business is going, how to process everything to get people in to replace you, the mini yous, as you say, so that you're building a business, not a really busy job that you're just going to get stressed and pissed off with and then micromanage people around you because they're not doing it quite the same way that you do it, and then you end up taking over and pushing them into a corner to do cleaning.
Yes.
I've seen it before. I'm sure you've seen it as well.
Yeah.
How do you get that psychology across to people that you shouldn't be doing all this yourself? Move away.
Yeah. And it's so true what you said, Darren. I do find that salon owners that try to do this by themselves, they will get to a point of like, right, I'm going to block out admin days, I'm going to reduce my hours. And then when things start to go wrong, they go back into their comfort zone. And their comfort zone is getting in that column again, getting in. And then they fall into a trap of, I can't do less hours in my business because I need the money. I need the clients in my column. And then they get stuck in that loop of, I know I need to work on the business, but I can't because I need the cash to pay for the staff. And it just gets into a really horrible catch-22. So what I find is when you bring people in to the business, like a mentor or somebody that can help you, they can see a bird's eye view of what needs to happen and what needs to happen quite quickly. So normally when I take on a business, I'll do a full business audit just to see where things are not quite adding up, maybe where there's holes in the bucket that are leaking right now, and how quickly can we patch up those holes and start to get that client flow in. Because there's no point in me teaching you about Google My Business, for example, giving you more clients, but then you can't retain those clients.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that the business is solid, that you are getting returning customers, that you're maximizing each sale, that you're rebooking the clients, that they're happy before we start to get new clients, because you're just going to be on a on a wheel, a hamster wheel.
Yeah, just losing stuff out the back end
Yeah,
constantly.
yeah,
I wish every business had somebody like you helping them, to be honest with you, because people come to us and say that they want help with digital marketing to get leads in,
yeah,
and we know they can't handle those leads. They don't know what to do with them. They're going to get inquiries through the website that they're going to leave 2 or 3 days before they respond to, and
yeah.
you can't do that.
No,
If you leave someone 2 or 3 days on the internet, they've gone somewhere else 2 or 3 days ago.
yeah,
Getting the procedures in place in how to deal with new business is crucial before you do any kind of marketing to get new business in. Otherwise, you're just going to be throwing money away, making yourself even more stressed, even more busy without any additional return.
yeah.
And that's where you come in to help them with this.
Yeah, just systemizing everything so that they're not stressed. They know what high value activities they need to be doing every single day to attract clients, to nurture clients and keep them, so that they are growing their business and they're not on that hamster wheel. Yeah.
There's one thing you said a moment ago, which I think anyone listening to this that has a salon or even any kind of trade might be concerned about. And that's, you mentioned how there were 50 or so businesses in your area similar to what you do, of
Yeah.
varying sizes. Because doing nail technician, for example, it's not a huge barrier to entry.
No.
You can start it up relatively cheaply on your own and without premises.
Yeah.
So if you're bringing someone in and you're training them on how to run a business and how to do the procedures, and you're basically recruiting people to be mini yous, there's going to be that worry
Yes.
that they're just going to go away and do it themselves and set up in competition.
Mhm.
How do you make sure that doesn't happen, and how do you convince the business owner to be okay that that's not going to happen?
Yeah. Yeah. And I truly believe if you're actually growing your employees as well, they are at some point going to go off and do their own thing. Yes, we can try and retain them as much as possible, have contracts in place that if you are spending a lot of money on training, that you are going to get a return on that investment or investing in that employee. So making sure that you've got things like training indemnity contracts and things like that if they leave sooner than you getting your money back. Just safety features like that a lot of people don't have in place. But this is one of the biggest challenges when growing a team, and I'm glad you highlighted it, Darren. And it's a difficult situation because yes, you are growing mini yous that might want to go out there and do their own thing. But I find that if you're incentivizing them, if you're growing with them, if you're giving them opportunities where maybe they might even be your next manager, they might even not want to invest 50 grand in setting up their own salon, that they might want to become part of your company, that they can grow and really flourish. I find that way is a lot better, because you're not just limiting them and then they're looking over at the next job, or they're looking at the next shiny object. We've all got shiny object syndrome. And they're happy. It's about getting feedback from your team as well, doing regular surveys, regular feedback from them. What is it that I can do to keep you happy? And some people are just going to go off. You're never going to stop that. But if you can try and grow the team where you've got people that are on your side that want to see you grow, that are not jealous of your success and things like that, incorporating them into your business and growing with them, I find that really does help get the right team.
Yeah, I think you've nailed it there. That there's a famous quote, I think it's Bill Gates, that said, "You're worried about what if we train people and they leave? What if you don't train them and they stay?"
Yeah, yeah,
Which pretty much sums it up.
It does. And you don't want to be limiting people around you. You want to be getting them to grow. I mean, you've got a big team as well, Darren, haven't you?
I have. Yeah, we have. Yeah,
And
and we've.
how do you sort of maintain that in your business?
Oh, this is flipped around.
Well, I'm
Yes, well,
interested to know.
thank you for inviting me on, Natasha. Funnily enough, very similar to what you just said, we have training, and we have 3 people in our business that have gone on and done quite large courses over the last couple of years. Somebody's 2 years into a 3-year degree course with
Wow,
us.
that's
And
big.
we have pretty much what you've said, indemnity about it. So if that person was then to leave within so many years after that, that the cost for that would be reclaimable. So that ensures that they stay at least until X period afterwards.
Yeah,
But it's also what you mentioned about empowering people to make decisions and to feel that they're valued and to feel that they're the ones running the business, because they are, and potentially succession planning as well. Because you can't stay in a business forever, you can't stay running it forever. You're going to need people who are going to take over from you. And if you just have a business full of yes men and women who just do everything you say and don't know how to make a decision and don't have any of the authority whatsoever, when you leave, that's not going to work. You can't sell that business because anyone buying it is going to want to know there's a management team in place.
exactly.
And if there isn't, then your business isn't worth as much.
Yeah.
So it comes down to it's all about the leader, really.
Yeah.
I knew I'd make it about me again. It's all about the leader. It's about the confidence in the leader to know to take their ego out of it, to take themselves out of it and say, right, this business isn't me. It is a business. It needs to run with these people. I need to be able to go away and still have it work. That way it's more valuable. Otherwise, it's just a job that I've got and people I hire.
Yes.
And that is not building a business. That is just waiting for a disaster to happen. Because if you get sick, you go away, you're ill, you go into hospital, you get hit by a bus, it's all over.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I think a lot of people don't talk about the exit strategy as well, do they? They don't think, when you're setting up a business, you're not thinking about the exit. You know,
No.
well, salon owners aren't. They're following a dream that they've always kind of had, and they don't really think about, all right, what does my business look like in 10 years' time? What do I look like in 10 years' time? Where do I want to be? And I get them to think about that when they join me, and then we start to put in the strategy for that big vision of where they see themselves, you know.
Well, that's a good thing to move on to now. So you work with a number of salon owners, and I don't know whether you can give us names, for example, and don't worry if you can't, but what kind of successes have you seen? What kind of changes in businesses have you seen with your help?
Yeah. So yeah, one client that springs to mind, she was my A-star student. She literally did everything I said and more. She would always come back to me, and she's still working with me now, because now we've kind of got her business to a stage where she's making a lot of profit, which also means a lot of tax. So now we need to figure out, right, how does she increase her net worth without paying so much tax? Which is a great problem to have. So now we're looking at different things like investing in property and growing her net worth. So when she does retire, you know, she's got a nice little a nest fund or a nest egg to help her with her lifestyle. But yeah, Jamie joined me when she just registered for VAT. And if you think about that 20% profit margin, Darren, you know, you're doing well, you're making 20% profit. Now I need to pay VAT, which is around 20%.
There goes your profit.
We can claim back some because we pay out a lot in VAT in other areas, products and things like that. But my profit's gone. And I don't feel confident that I can put up my prices by 20% because all my customers are going to leave me. This is the story that people tell themselves. So she joined me at a really rocky time, and she was like, this is make or break. You know, it was about 3 months in, she'd been VAT registered. She saw the the bank balance dwindling, and she was like, right, I'm either going to make this work or I'm going to pack it all in because it's not worth it for me. Her mental health was stressed. She'd broken up with her husband. She was now a single parent to 2 children, trying to run the business and family life. And when she joined me, yeah, she was pretty much at breaking point. So I came in, I knew exactly what she needed to do. We got to work, and within about 8 weeks, she started getting the results. She was working less hours, she was earning so much more. She had a great little team, but her staff were stealing from her.
No.
Yeah, and she knew about it, but she didn't want to confront them with it because she was so scared to lose her team that she was in this horrible predicament of being too nice to her team because she wanted to be seen as a nice boss.
How were they stealing? Were they taking product? Were they taking money from the
Products,
till?
yeah, taking products. I don't know about money, but it was definitely products were going missing. She knew which member of staff it was. Um, and yeah, I thought, oh my God, she's not doing an inventory of a product. She doesn't know how much is there. She's wasting a lot of money because the orders are huge. And she's thinking, well, we haven't had the clients in. So what's going on there? And yeah, she knew exactly what was happening, but she didn't know how to deal with it. So we dealt with all of those issues. She did have to become the boss. And her team actually started to respect her. You know, she put in those boundaries. She wasn't the friend that was trying to be their best friend. And she took on that role of being the boss. Now she calls herself a boss bitch. She's like, I'm in my boss bitch mode and I love it. And it's not about being a bitch, you know, it's not about being unfriendly to your team, but it's about putting in those boundaries so that you are respected in the company. And what we saw was, you know, going from no profit to making 8 grand profit a month. And she was
Wow.
like, shit, this is happening. And then she also thought, you know, I've got this team member that is my top earner. And if she ever leaves, she used to say this all the time, if she ever leaves, my business is gone because she's such a top earner. And guess what? At the end of the year, she said she was leaving because she broke up with her partner and circumstances changed. And she actually said, I'm leaving. And she went into meltdown a little bit, but I coached her through it. And I said, it's not the end of the world. And we actually did more revenue once she left than she'd ever done without her. So it's just a lesson to know that your staff are not irreplaceable. You can replace them. And it's not the be all and end all if a staff member does leave.
No, that's true. Yeah, you can't be reliant on one staff member, and you can't be reliant on one particular client or one supplier. You need to diversify so that your business survives these heartaches.
Yeah.
We had our longest serving staff member leave us a few months ago.
Yeah.
He'd been with us 10 years, but he left not because he went to another agency. He left because he wanted to completely change his career and go and work with children with mental health issues because he was a really charitable kind of guy, and that's what he liked to do. He wanted to test himself and get into the NHS. I think he's mad, but he still works with us remotely as well, so he still does some freelance work with us. But yeah, we thought he'd never leave. We thought he'd be part of the furniture. We thought we'd be carrying him out in a box one day. But these things change. You have to move on. You have to adapt. Otherwise, a business isn't robust.
Yeah, it's all about building that business that doesn't just rely on that one person. It's building the business so that staff are replaceable if they need to. I know it's sad, you know, when such a great team member leaves, but that you shouldn't be at that point where it really affects your, like, we are emotional salon owners. Like, a lot of the time we base our decisions on emotions, and it's all about removing that emotion, getting a bit more structured, systemized, you know, getting those processes in place so that you are not making emotional based decisions. Yeah, and that actual Jamie actually made from 2022. She was just like at that threshold, just over, and she made 191% increase in her revenue. So she did over 200,000 in
Wow.
2023 from about, I think she was just about 80 or 90 grand. So yeah, it was crazy.
I've heard that said a lot, that if you're at the VAT level, which is 85 grand, isn't it, the VAT
Yeah,
level? Yeah.
yeah,
If you're at the VAT level, you don't want to just teeter over it, because you're going to end up earning less money. You
it's a
either need to
danger.
stay under it or smash through it,
Yeah, yeah.
which sounds
Around
like what she's done.
yeah, if you're around that, especially for salon owners, if you're around the 100 to 120, everybody speaks about having 100 grand a year. In the salon world, that's dangerous,
Yeah.
especially if you've got overheads, a team, and all of that. You need to go way over that to really smash it and make back that profit. Yeah.
So what's Jamie's plans for the future then? Where's she taking it from there?
Yeah, so
Because she's still working with you as well, so...
yeah, she's on a retainer, so she's got access to me whenever she likes. She doesn't need me as much as we've set up the main sort of systems and processes. But yeah, we speak once a month. She is growing the business so that we can now invest those profits into things like property and things like that to grow her net worth. She's still very young, she's got 2 young children, so she now wants to be able to choose the hours that she's working. So she previously was doing 50 hours a week. Now she's only doing 15 to 20 hours a week. So she's cut.
Really?
Yeah. And then she wants to get that to a point of just picking and choosing basically the clients that she wants to do. And the team can do the rest. So,
And that presumably is the goal most salon owners want to get to. So the hours are down low, the money is there, and their real problem is, where do they go from here, and what do they do with the money so that they don't end up giving it to the taxman?
Yeah, exactly. And enjoying the fruits of her labour. She's now back with her husband as well.
Is that a good thing?
Yeah,
It is a good thing. Okay, just checking.
She's back with her husband. They're super happy. Her mental health has improved. Kids are happy. She was able to take them on holiday. She was able to take her team away as well because they were hitting their targets, and
Wow.
they're being rewarded. They're getting commission. They're happy. And it's just so lovely. She says that I saved her, and she always gives me credit, which is so lovely. But yeah, it's not just her business I've impacted, it's the lives of her family, her partner, and her staff as well.
And how many salon owners can you work with at any one time?
It depends really. I've got an academy, so that's like a group sort of program. And I can work with as many people as I like in there because we've got systems and processes with Zoom calls and things like that. But on a one-to-one basis, I would say comfortably I could do about 10 at a time. I have done 20, and that was it kind of impacted my own lifestyle. And I don't like working after 2 p.m, Darren.
Who does?
Yeah, no, after 2, I'm just not at my best. So I like working early in the morning, and then I can just do whatever I like. I don't like working Fridays or weekends, so I work Monday to Thursday, 9 till 2. I'm happy with that.
Wow. Which again is the dream everybody's got.
Yeah. And I truly believe that I should be I need to be authentic in myself. I have boundaries. I have things that I want to do with my family as well. So if I'm working all of the hours and preaching that you should be not working all of the hours, it's not authentic. And
no,
I've designed the business that works around me rather than me working around the business.
No, that's very true, and I do see a lot of, I'll say business coaches. Yes, I see a lot of business coaches who preach what you should be doing, but in themselves, they're not running successful businesses. They've never run successful businesses, and they are working all hours to do business coaching because they're kind of scrambling around for clients. And you do have this. Are you really the genuine article? Because you're not actually doing what you say you can do. You've got no history of doing what you say you can do. You're just telling me what you can do because you've got it out of a book, or you got it out of a course, or you've got it from a franchise. Not picking on any coaching franchises that may be out there. Well, I am, but you've been there and done it.
Yeah.
You've done it yourself. You've helped other people do it.
Darren.
Yeah, you've been in the trenches. I like that.
I've crawled out and made it to the top.
Yeah.
Stuck the flag in there and said.
And you're still doing it now, because otherwise, it wouldn't be authentic if you were working 50-hour weeks.
No.
No.
Yeah, it's not something that I aspire to do. And it is about spending time with your family, getting back to what you love. That's the core essence of why we're in business, why we chose to be entrepreneurs in the first place.
Yeah.
I didn't want a job. I wanted a business that's going to work for me. And that's what others are aspiring to be as well.
I mean, that is what business is meant to be about, isn't it? You know, we don't go into business to work long hours for no pay, to be really stressed and think we've got a job. That's not why we do it.
No.
It's not why we do it.
Yeah.
So if there's salon owners listening to this, for example, how would they identify themselves as needing your help?
If they're feeling frustrated, if they're probably teetering on the VAT threshold, or they've already gone over the VAT threshold and they're starting to worry about how much tax they're paying to VAT, then you need to start thinking about your growth strategy, because staying around that VAT threshold is not going to be ideal for you. They might even be feeling a little bit overwhelmed, not sure where to start. If you're not paying yourself a minimum of 50 grand a year, then you need help, because otherwise, why are you doing it? I've done some research, and the average sort of UK wage is around 34,000, which isn't a lot, really, is it, when you think about it? And I truly believe that if you've got your own business, you should be paying yourself a minimum of 50. That's deemed as a decent salary in the average UK sort of stats that we've got. But why not just go and get a job if you don't want to pay yourself a decent wage? So currently sitting there and you don't pay yourself, you're the last to pay yourself, then you're feeling frustrated, you're working too many hours, you're not choosing the hours that you want to work, then you need some help.
And of course, paying yourself 50 grand, that doesn't necessarily mean 50 grand PAYE.
No.
There's other ways to pay yourself.
Yes, definitely. I've got a few videos on that as well, on how you can pay yourself that 50 grand and being most tax efficient. Yeah, because a lot of people think that, I'm not going to pay myself 50 grand because then I'm going to be taxed 40% or whatever it is. But that's untrue, because tax is marginal, and once you put through your personal allowance and you've got your own bits as well, it's not actually that much if you were to pay yourself through PAYE. It's not as much as you think it would be, but there are other ways that you can pay yourself through a limited company and dividends and all of that stuff.
And of course, the super sexy pensions, which everybody loves to talk about pensions. Yeah,
tax free.
Yeah, exactly, tax free. So we won't talk about that because they are boring.
They are.
But it does mean a shitload of money that goes to you and doesn't go to the government.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's not boring.
Yeah, and it reduces your tax liability. So
exactly, yeah, it's like a win-win-win.
It is, definitely.
If you can get over the boredom of talking about a pension. But it is something you, as a business owner, you absolutely have to do. And if you're not doing it, then just smack your head against the wall until you start doing it, because it's free money.
It's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely. But maybe people don't know these things, Darren. You know, if you're not actively going out there looking for content on that, or going on courses, or surrounding yourself with people that know about these things, you almost got some blinders on. You know, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, but you don't, do you? You know, you start a business because you like doing nails, or you like doing hair, or whatever it is. You know, you want to run your own salon. It's your dream. You have no idea about pensions because it is dull. You have no idea about VAT because that's just something scary. You don't know about tax returns. You don't know what you can claim for. Yeah. And if you don't get the advice on it, you'll never know. And quite frankly, you'll end up spending more money than you should. And you'll end up in trouble because you've given all this money away. I spoke to a really smart, really intelligent person a few years ago who ran their own business coaching, had no idea they could even claim for their mileage going around speaking to clients. So what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, you're paying far more tax than you need to because all of this that you've spent out on petrol, you can claim that back, you know. You don't have to pay tax on that. That's not your profit. And they had no idea. Yeah. And it's just, if they don't find out, then they'll never know.
Exactly. And it's about surrounding yourself with those people that are in the know, that have done it themselves in their businesses, and that's why communities are great as well. You know, surrounding yourself with other like-minded business owners that can help you on your journey.
Like one that we're in.
Yes, we love it.
Yes, like one that we're in. So if there is a salon owner out there that is thinking, I like the cut of Natasha's jib, is that a phrase? I think so.
You've made it up, Darren.
I like the cut of Natasha's jib. I want to find out more about this. I want to speak to her about how she can help me blast through that VAT threshold so that I don't end up losing money, so that I can work fewer hours and I can have more money and staff that do all the responsibility for me, and I can have a good family life and take my kids on holiday and not have to worry about any of this shit because Natasha's going to come in with her special magic wand of procedures and marketing and just make it happen. I know there's work that has to be done as well.
Yeah.
How can they get in contact with you? What's the best way for them to reach out to you?
Best way is probably Facebook. Facebook's my main platform. So Nat Britton, that's Britton. Add me on there, drop me a messenger, and we can go from there. I'll get you to fill out a little form, and then we can do a business audit. A business audit is one of the best things that you can do. Yeah, they can be a little bit boring, but I love it. I love unpicking everything in someone's business, and because I've got so much insight of where I came from and where other businesses are, I can pick it out really easy. Now it's like, I know exactly what you need to do. Just follow this and we'll get the results. So yeah, reach out to me on Facebook.
Okay, and I will pop the link for that as well below the podcast. So on YouTube, it'll be in the video description. On iTunes, Audible, Spotify, it'll be in the podcast show notes below that. So anybody wants to find that link below this podcast, you'll be able to follow that and connect with Natasha on Facebook as well. So Nat, thank you. Thank you for being on. I've loved this. I've loved the real specific conversations we've been having about salons and real problems within real businesses. It's been enlightening, and I love the way you're helping people fulfill the dreams of why they started business in the first place.
Yeah, so true. And thank you so much for having me on, Darren. It's been a pleasure.
The pleasure has been all mine. Thank you very much.